Hi, my name is Steve Bromage. I'm the Executive Director of Maine Historical Society. I hope you're all doing relatively okay out there. The COVID-19 pandemic has turned everybody's world upside down. This truly is an unprecedented moment in our history. We are mindful that Mainers are experiencing this moment in all kinds of different ways. Hundreds have been sickened, dozens have died. Many of you have lost jobs. Others are working to keep your businesses open. Many of you are out on the front lines in hospitals and labs. School and work routines have been turned on their head. Everybody is being impacted. One of the things that we're focused on at Maine Historical Society is capturing and sharing this moment and the experience of Mainers during the pandemic. I'm very pleased to be here with Jamie Rice, MHS's Director of Collections and Research, to talking about an initiative that we just launched to do just that, which is collecting Mainers' experiences through our Maine Memory Network, our statewide digital museum. Jamie, welcome. It's nice to see you.
Hello.
So why is it important to capture these stories?
The Maine Historical Society is really trying to collect as many stories as possible about the experience of the coronavirus on Maine and how people are experiencing that firsthand. And it's really an effort to collect history in the making so that we can document this for future generations.
How does My Maine Stories work? Tell me about it.
Well, My Maine Stories is a component of the Maine Memory Network. So it's essentially a bit like an oral history platform of sorts where you can upload videos, but also written text, photographs, graphics, anything that really showcases your experience and be able to embed that into the website so it's accessible for anyone to see either now or for in the future.
Now, we're really focused on COVID-19 right now, but we're also been mindful, and we've been talking a lot about the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918, polio in the 1950s, AIDS crisis in the 1980s. Can people share those kinds of stories too?
Well, My Main Stories is a broad platform, and we invite people to be able to share any kind of experience. Really, our goal is to be able to share Maine stories. So, the one piece that we do say is that whatever submission you do provide, whether it's the coronavirus or the experiences of your family or your ancestors or your community through other epidemics or even similar Maine stories, that it'd be about Maine. So having a Maine connection. And we know that people experience Maine in different ways. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to live here or that you've ever had to live here if you've you visitor or just have a Maine connection. As long as the story has a connection to Maine in some way, we invite submissions from all sorts. It happens to be at this time we're really hyper focused on collecting stories related to COVID-19 so that we can do our best to be able to provide research materials for future generations.
And how will the public find these stories and see them?
The stories are accessible through the Maine Memory Network. There are stories that are up online at present, so they can be searched either through the database itself or through a regular search engine, depending on the topic that someone might be looking for. So once a story is submitted, our staff works to catalog those stories, to add keyword searching, and to make them accessible so that we can kind of format them for the website, and then they'll be fully accessible free online.
And this will create a permanent record. They'll be permanently accessible for on into the future.
They will be accessible. As long as any website is accessible, they'll be accessible online. But once they've been submitted, they will be added to the collections of Maine Historical Society, so they do become part of the archive itself. Our goal is to be able to keep the stories up in perpetuity, but again, they will be embedded into the physical collections as well.
And can you talk about, you and I have been talking a lot about, and we've been aware that Maine Historical Society, which has now been in business and collecting for almost 200 years, has collected in moments like this before. Can you talk about some of the other times we have really worked to collect in the moment?
I think probably the most relevant to what we're going through and experiencing right now would be through the Spanish flu epidemic. And Maine Historical Society actively collected on the First World War and the Spanish flu during the period itself in the 19 teens and into 1920. So that's probably the most relevant example. And collecting contemporary history, history as it unfolds, history as it's being as we're experiencing it, really bodes well for that. Although I will say that despite those efforts, there still really are limited resources in Maine about the Spanish flu, especially visual images. It's been really difficult to be able to capture those experiences in a way that's outside of the printed pamphlet or the newspaper accounts, which are really meaningful aspects of research when looking at the past. But those personal experiences is what we really hope to gain with this. And during the Spanish flu, we certainly have access to correspondence and to diaries, but it's different. The world operates differently, so we can draw a lot from those collecting initiatives and kind of apply those to today. And how do we capture stories today in the very electronic world that we live in?
So again, we're all really focused on COVID-19, but if people are at home, people are spending more and more time home with their families, sharing stories. So if they have those other stories about any aspect of Maine life, a relative who served in the Civil War, somebody who worked in the paper industry, whatever it may be, telling their story about what Maine means to them is something that we would love to see as well.
Oh, certainly. Again, as I mentioned, it's really about Maine Stories. And so you can visit the website, and there are prompts to kind of get you started for a set of different themes, whether it's COVID-19 or the paper industry or the food industry or some of the other stories that we have up there. But they can be submitted on any topic. We just try to make those resources available for different themes that we've collected through the initiatives over the last few years. But any story about Maine, related to Maine, any kind of Maine experience, we're looking to document those stories as well.
Great. Well, thank you to you and your team so much, Jamie. We're really excited about this, and I think it's a great opportunity to see how we're all connected to both this experience and to Maine. To our audience out there, stay safe, be well. Hopefully, we'll find a new normal sooner rather than later. We hope you'll find some way to capture your experience during this really wild time, whether it's by keeping a journal or by contributing to My Maine Stories. And we look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thanks.